Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Now, you may have seen from the thumbnail that we're going to be doing something pretty exciting today. We're actually going to be making a model railroad layout. Now, this is going to be in two parts. This is the first part where we go over the basics of what I had to do to get this started for episode 2, where we're going to be doing the details and finishing touches. Now, as you could probably guess, this project was very expensive, and you could do a big help by subscribing and try to watch my other videos if possible. Thank you so much, and let's jump right in. To kickstart this project, I got a model train for my model train layout. This is the N-Scale Bachmann Freightmaster, and it looks really nice. As you can tell from the logos on the side, it is a CSX. It has some really nice printing, and I really like the paint job, and I think it'll look really nice on the finished train layout. The next most important thing besides a model train is obviously going to be the track, so I spent a big portion of my budget on the track that I would need for my layout that I planned. Now, this is the first time I've ever touched model train track, so I was pretty excited for it to arrive, and there was a lot. I was pretty dumb and I didn't use any of the track that actually came with the model train that I bought, but that's okay since now I have tons of extra track for the future. I then proceeded to use the next 2 months to look for a train table. Yeah, I'm not even joking. I literally spent 2 months looking for a train table when I ended up just using this old desk in my room that I wasn't using anymore. I did really like my decision, however, since the table gave me a lot of room for the track and it doesn't look too bad. The next thing that I would need is some foam board. So I went over to Home Depot and I got myself a ton of foam board. A lot more than I actually needed. But I cut it to size to fit the table, and I put it on the table and got it ready. Now, halfway through putting the track on, I realized I was actually using the wrong track. If you look at the picture on the screen, you'll see that there's a track that looks pretty normal, and that's what professionals actually use. The track that I bought has plastic ballast on it, and it really doesn't look good. But don't worry, I'll fix that in episode 2. So right now, this is what the train layout looks like. And there's obviously a massive piece of track in the middle of it where the train can't travel. So I grabbed some pieces around my living room, placed them under it, and created a makeshift bridge. And this is it running around the layout. Now, you may have noticed all the wires coming out of the layout, and yeah, it definitely does not look nice, so let's try and fix that. My plan was to cut some slivers into the foam board and stuff the wires inside, then cover it up with some terrain paste and it would look perfectly normal. So let's make some terrain paste now. I got some Mod Podge and some Nutmeg Brown from the store. Now, I did forget to get some plaster, so it may not be as thick as I want it to be, but let's hope that's not a problem in the future. I mixed the two together to make a somewhat terrain paste. After I was done mixing up the terrain paste, I put it in some spots around the layout, put some grass on it, and see how it looked, and it was looking pretty nice. This is the terrain paste over half of the wire, and this is the terrain paste in the corner with some turf on it, and I really like the look of it. Now, if you look very closely, the bridge is at a very steep incline, and the train struggles to get up it, so we're gonna have to actually change it. I went onto Amazon and I got a intersection, and this is what it looks like. It was way bigger than I anticipated, and it's very cool looking, and I'm really excited to see how the train looks on it. The problem is, I actually have to cut the track to actually make it fit. If you look closely right here, I have to cut the corners off so that they don't actually intersect, which was kind of annoying. But after all the trouble, this is what it looks like, and I think it looks way better. You may have also noticed that there's some weird inconsistencies about the track. There's some track hanging off the ledge, which obviously isn't that good, and the wires are on the wrong side of the track. That's because the intersection actually flexed the track when I put it in, and it caused some track to hit the wall, so I had to turn the track 180 degrees. But I also don't want the train to fall off the ledge, so I got this extra piece of foam board, and I cut out a little bit of an island around the track, and I would glue it to the main piece of foam board so that the train wouldn't fall off. After I got my hot wire cutter out and I cut it to the right size, this is what it looked like. I also decided to add a little bit of a mountain to the corner of my layout and have a tunnel going through it. Little did I know this would take way much more time than I actually anticipated. This is it after I got it curved out, and this is after I added the third layer with where the tunnel would actually be going. Even with 3 layers, the train couldn't even fit through the first one, so I'd actually have to add a 4th layer. So I warmed up my hot wire cutter again, and I cut out the 2nd layer out of the tunnel. Now, you may notice this massive hole in the side. That is because I accidentally messed up and I pushed a little bit too hard, but I'll fix that a bit later. This is the train running through the tunnel, and it looks really, really cool. Once I added the 4th layer, the mountain was really starting to form a shape, and I really liked the look of it. But obviously I need to paint this thing, so I got all the train paste that I had, and I would spend the next few hours painting it. And in the end, I really, really like it. I used some putty to fill in some of the very, very big gaps, so that none of it would show in the final product. You may still see some cracks, but that's okay after I put the final layer of Mod Podge onto it. All I have to do is actually paint the train yard, and to do that I'd have to glue the rest of the train track on, which means glue on the tracks, which I made a special counter for. I actually ended up with 4 pieces on the track, which I had to peel off, which obviously isn't good for the track. This is after I masked all of the track, and I painted on the train yard, and this is what it looks like on its first coat. And then I waited for it to dry. This is what it looks like after its first coat, and it obviously needed a second one. So I did that, and I waited overnight, and I was really excited to see what it looks like in the morning, until I realized that all of the paint was peeling up, probably because I didn't add the plaster that I was supposed to. And so that would mean that I'd have to do it all over again. But I did not make the same mistake. I got some plaster and some sculpt mold from my hobby shop, and I mixed up a new terrain paste, which I forgot to record. This is after I put some of the sculpt mold on the side of the mountain, and it looks really, really nice. I then finally added the final layer of terrain paste to the left side of the track, and this is what it looked like. It was finally working. I then had to do this to the right, which means I have to glue the rest of the track on, which means the counter is back. I got 8 pieces of glue on the track, which obviously isn't good. When I started to paint the right side of the track and add the 3rd layer, I actually ran out of the paint, so I had to get some more, which I'll save for episode 2. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and watch part 2, which I'll be posting in a few months. Again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss part 2 of this video.